Greetings students. In today's lecture we'll be dealing with your HVDC system. We'll be seeing its application types, okay, limitations also, okay. We'll be moving. So first you have to know about what is your HVDC system, okay. So before the introduction of HVDC transmission, okay, we used AC, mainly AC only we have used, okay. But after introduction to your rectifiers and thyristor, we are now shifting towards your DC part. Okay, the principle involving the HVDC transmission is that generally your AC voltage, AC supply is generated, and this AC will be converted to DC by means of rectifiers. Mainly your mercury arc rectifier will be used at the sending end. So here, this is what it happens. So from your power plant, it will be stepped up, and then it will be given to the substation, which consists of your controlled rectifier. So this control rectifier is having one type is that mercury arc rectifier. The DC is transmitted over the long distance, which is converted to AC again by means of thyratron. Okay. So here basically these two are nothing but converters. That too they will be specifically making use of voltage source converters. Okay. So from here your AC gets converted to DC. Again, after transmitting through your DC link, your DC gets converted to AC, and again it will be stepped down and it will be given to your consumers. Okay, so this is the main principle involving in the HVDC transmission. So the converter make use of thyristors for control operation. Okay, so DC output is controlled by varying the firing angle. So here we'll be having the DC output. So this DC output will be, you already know about okay, regarding this control rectifier and inverters, you'll be studying in your power electronics. So for the rectifier action, okay, so basically this is a voltage source converter, this is a voltage source converter. So this voltage source converter can perform in both your rectification process as well as it can perform in your inverter process. So for the rectification action, your firing angle must be from 0 to 90 degree. At the same time, for the inverter action, it has to be from 90 to 180 degree. So here it will be operating as a rectifier. So it will be from 0 to 90, and over here it will be from 90 to 180. In the HVDC transmission, so what and all is possible is that optimum loading of line is possible. Okay, power can be transferred to flow in either direction. Stability limit can be increased. Okay, the stability can be increased more than if you're comparing with your normal AC transmission. Okay, so here the components of HVDC transmission are alternator, okay, converter. So this I have already explained. So these are the components involving your HVDC system. So next, moving on to the classification. So it can be classified as monopolar link, bipolar link. So first we'll be seeing this. So and then hybrid also is there. So this corresponds to a monopolar link. So here it has a single conductor. So monopolar represents your single conductor, usually of negative polarity. So here the conductor was like this. So this corresponds to your conductor. So here it is of negative polarity. Why it is of negative polarity means to reduce your corona loss, and uses ground or C for your return path. If you are making having this as a negative polarity means the return path will be very easy. You can either take it as a C or you can take it as a ground. Sometimes metallic return is also used. That is physically we are inserting. Earthing of poles is done by earth rods located at about 15 to 55 km away from the respective terminal stations. So this is how you earth the system. So this is how it looks like. The current will be flowing through this. This is your ID. Next, coming to a bipolar. Uh, Generally, this will be your sending end, and this will be your receiving end. So in a bipolar, here itself you can see there will be two conductors. So this is one conductor and this is another one conductor, and generally one of the conductor will be maintained at a positive polarity and another one conductor will be maintained at a negative polarity. Okay, each terminal has sets of converters of identical ratings, so both will be rated the same. The midpoints of the converter at the each terminal station are earthed via electrode lines. So this corresponds to the earthing, and these are nothing but your electrode lines. So the voltage between the conductors is equal to the 2 times of the voltage between either of the conductor. So it will be twice the times. So the bipolar HVDC system is described as say, so the here some of the rating at which your bipolar works. But this bipolar is having is more advantages when compared to that of your monopolar, because when any fault occurs in one pole, the system maybe change be difficult in case of your monopolar. Okay, so this link is most commonly used in or high power HVDC system. So as I said, your voltage will be doubled. So with respect to that, it will be used in your high power systems. So your homopolar link, it has two conductors. Homopolar will be having two conductors. Of same polarity and always operate with ground. So this is the third type. So here it will be operated with the ground or metallic as the return path. The system is not used presently. Normally negative polarity is used to the reduction of your corona loss. So again the same point is repeating. So next, coming to the next of thing, interconnection of HVDC transmission into your AC. How we can interconnect your HVDC and your AC? HVDC bipolar transmission system generally used where you need a very bulk power. Okay, so a two-terminal DC link using overhead lines is used to transmit large blocks of your relatively cheap power. Okay, so this enables the development of remote power generation. Okay, so the cable transmission with the HVDC AC system is possible for distance not more than 40 kilometers. So this is the main limitation coming to your HVDC. Okay, but in case of your HVDC, it can transmit above HVDC cables, in the sense it can be able to transmit above 40 kilometers. So here for longer distance, the HVDC is used. Okay, so this is example for your two-terminal DC link HVDC line. So here it is the voltage is rated around 400 kV. The next is back-to-back DC link. Regarding a back-to-back DC link, here rectification and inversion is carried out in the same converter. So that's the main important thing. You can make it in the same conductor by having excess amount of switches. Okay, it is indeed possible by having more number of switches. So here the advantage is that to control the power and stabilize the system, okay, to connect two different frequencies of AC system. The back-to-back link consists of sending and receiving N converter stations situated close to each other, and DC line is of 0. Okay, they are used to couple AC system. Mainly they will be using in case of connection with your AC system. that is both will be working in parallel. So next is the parallel connection of AC and DC links. So here both AC and DC links will be running parallel. So as I said, so here is your AC and here is your DC. So in the DC link, will be having a rectifier as well as your inverter. Due to its fast control, the DC lines can improve the transient stability of the system. Sometimes it is also necessary to put a DC link in parallel with the existing AC link. So this is the configuration what we are talking about. A DC link has an extremely rapid response of speed of response. To avoid electromechanical oscillations, DC link may be used. Okay, so DC link in parallel with the AC raises the steady state stability and transmit stability limits. So this is the example. So next, coming to your multi-terminal DC links. All large AC power systems are effectively of multi-terminal. Okay, here almost all DC link all DC links set up are two terminal links. Okay, multi-terminal DC network of rectifier and inverter stations is so this is in case of if you are using more than two terminals, you have to go through this. So the two terminal DC link does not need to be equipped with AC circuit breakers. Okay, but in case of a multi-terminal, you are in need of your AC circuit breakers as well as your DC circuit breakers. So coming to the application of your HVDC system, so they are long distance bulk power transmitters. So the power transmission for large kilometer can be carried out through underground and submarine cables. Asynchronous interconnection of AC system operating at different frequencies. Okay, so even you can connect your AC and DC lines in parallel. So DC transmission with the AC distribution system is also possible. Again, your DC transmission with next is the back-to-back HVDC coupling stations, control and stabilization of power flow in AC ties. So the limitation is that high cost. Both in case of a ESV system and your HVDC system, what occurs is that your cost will be really high. Okay, this blocks the reactive power since we are transmitting in DC. So the harmonics which require AC and DC filters adding to the cost. Okay, will be increasing the cost. Control will also be complex. Coming to the advantage of HVDC, HVDC can carry more power. So we already know corona loss can be minimized, dielectric loss can be minimized, absence of skin effect as corona loss is minimized. Ground can be used for as a return conductor. It is economical for long distance even compared to your AC. No transmission of short circuit power. Fault clearing time is small. Okay, no reactive power loss. So here, so the some of the HVDC links can just go through. The first HVDC link was at Sweden. Okay, so for a voltage of 100 kV and the power of 20 megawatt. Coming to the comparison of your EHVAC and your HVDC transmission system. Okay, coming to this. So here, your comparison will be based upon three criteria: economics, technical performance, reliability. So first we will be dealing with the economics. Economics is nothing but the basics of your cost. Okay. For lines designed for same insulation level, it can carry to more power with two conductors. Okay, can carry more power with your two conductors in case of your HVDC. Okay, but in EHVAC can carry as much as power with three conductors, because here we'll be talking with your three phase. So here it will be, we'll be talking with your positive polarity and your negative polarity. Okay, so here one of the conductor is reduced. Okay, based upon that, for a given power level, it may require less right of way, cheaper towers, reduced conductor cost. So based upon this point, your cost of your conductor decreases. But here another one excess of another one separate conductor also is needed. So making it to be very high. So the cable insulation required is less. Here the cable insulation is required is more. So it do not require compensation. So here cost for compensating devices are high. Okay. Here after that the maintenance cost in case of EHVAC is low when compared to your HVDC, because your HVDC make use of more electrical equipments like your rectifiers and your inverters. So maintaining those rectifiers and inverters is a very difficult parameter. Okay. Coming to the next point, it is based upon. So this is a main difference. So here, uh, this is what as the distance increases. So this is the respective distance cost diagram. So here up to this break even point, your AC will be more economical. Okay. So after that, if you are moving through far away from this breakaway point, your DC only will be more economical. Okay. So this is a power distance criteria. So here the power at the case of a DC will be constant. Okay. But in case of an AC, the transmission line losses will be heavy after the breakaway point. So this is what your breakaway point is. Sorry, break even point. Okay. So next regarding your technical performance, the DC converter station requires reactive power related to line loadings. So this arises mainly because from your consumer side. The line itself does not require reactive power control. But here, the reactive power control is required to maintain constant voltages. So next is the contribution of DC line to short circuit currents is only to rated current of DC line. So here interconnection of two AC system by an AC line increases the short circuit current in the system. So this does not require any kind of line compensation, whereas your HVAC requires, because here we are talking about your reactive power in your EHVAC. Okay. So next, coming to the fourth point. So here the two systems will be interconnected. Okay, the two systems will be interconnected, which have different frequencies. Okay, here the two systems are not interconnected. Okay, so economical use of your underground cables are possible. As I said, up to 40 km means you have to go for EHVAC. Above 40 km means you have to shift to your HVDC. In case of your cables, they enable to use transformers to change voltage levels. Transformers are used to change voltage levels, and okay, here the voltage levels cannot be changed because we are talking about your HVDC system. Okay. Next will be seeing this the third part is here about reliability. So in case of a reliability, it is the probability that an item or collection of item will perform satisfactory, okay, under specific condition. So that's what more reliability in the sense that is more confidence in the system. Okay, so the energy reliability equation is given as 1 minus outage time by total time. So the equivalent outage time formula is actual outage time. Outage reference to your fault. Okay, into the system capacity loss due to your outage. So transient reliability in the sense number of times HVDC system performed as designed by number of recorded faults. Okay, so through this kind of thing you can find your reliability by this formula. So from this, the main question what they'll be asking is they will be asking the brief about your HVDC system with classification. So this you can expect it very important question. Okay, thank you.